Am I the a-hole for not helping my stepbrother after he came out gay because he got me disowned for being gay? I, 28M, was basically disowned by my dad's side of the family when I was 19 because I came out as gay. It wasn't a dramatic pack your things and leave kind of disowning, but it was made very clear that I wasn't welcome in the house anymore. And after some nasty arguments, I stopped going back. My mom tried to fight for me, but since my parents had split years earlier, there wasn't much she could do. My dad and stepmom made it very clear they thought I was choosing sin, and that I'd be a bad influence on my younger stepbrother, Evan, now 23M. Here's where it gets ugly. Evan was the golden child. Anything he said, my dad and stepmom ate it up. When I came out, Evan was around 12, and instead of just being a kid and staying out of it, he went out of his way to make things worse for me. He told them I was flirting with his friends, which was a complete lie, and accused me of trying to turn him gay. He even went through my stuff once and found printed conversations I had with a guy I liked, then showed them to my dad. That was basically the nail in the coffin. They used it as proof I couldn't be trusted around him or the house. So I left. I built my own life, struggled for years, and eventually carved out some stability. Therapy, a chosen family of friends, and a lot of hard work got me to a place where I can actually say I'm happy now. I kept zero contact with my dad's side, including Evan. Fast forward to a couple of weeks ago. Out of nowhere, I get this long message from Evan. Turns out he just came out as gay. And suddenly, his parents aren't taking it so well. He says they've been cold, distant, making comments about where they went wrong, and he's scared they'll cut him off. He wanted to apologize for what he did to me as a kid, admitted he lied and exaggerated because he thought it would make him look good to them, and then asked me if I could help him through this since I've been there before. And honestly, I left him on read. I know he was a kid when he did what he did, but his lies ruined my relationship with my dad and left me with scars I still deal with. And now he wants me to be the one to guide him through the exact same rejection he helped create for me. So, am I the a-hole for not responding to my stepbrother and not wanting to help him after what he did? After I left Evan's message on read, I honestly thought that would be the end of it. I figured he'd get the hint and maybe lean on some friends or find an LGBTQ+ support group instead of reaching out to me. But nope. A few days later, I started getting texts from my dad, which is wild because we haven't spoken in nearly a decade. The first text was short. Call me. It's about Evan. I didn't answer. Then a longer one came in, basically guilt-tripping me. Whatever happened in the past, Evan is your brother. He needs someone to talk to. Don't be cruel. That one almost made me laugh out loud. This man who cut me off, who didn't care if I lived under a bridge, is now lecturing me about family, because suddenly the golden child is facing the exact same treatment he thought I deserved. Then my stepmom chimed in, sending a Facebook message that said, "We know things were difficult before, but Evan is scared and confused. We'd appreciate it if you could put aside grudges and help him." The irony is insane. When I was 19 and crying in my car after being kicked out, they didn't care if I was scared and confused. They cared about saving face at church. I didn't reply to any of them, but I won't lie, it stirred up a lot of feelings I thought I'd buried. Part of me does feel for Evan. I know what it's like to sit in that house and hear the comments, the sighs, the disappointed looks. I know how isolating it feels when your parents decide their idea of morality matters more than loving their kid. But then I remember, Evan helped create that hell for me. He wasn't just a bystander. He wasn't just a scared little kid. He actively lied, went through my private stuff, and painted me as a predator to make himself look good. Maybe he didn't fully understand the consequences at 12, but I sure as hell did when I was standing on the curb with a trash bag full of my clothes. Now some mutual relatives, an aunt and a cousin I still talk to occasionally, are reaching out too, saying things like, "He was just a kid, give him a chance," and "If anyone can understand what he's going through, it's you." And I feel torn. Do I have the emotional bandwidth to help him? Do I even owe him that? Or would it just rip open old wounds for me? Right now, my gut reaction is still to keep ignoring him. But I can't lie, I feel a little guilty for it. After a week of silence and a dozen unread messages from Evan, ranging from long apologies to short, "Please just talk to me," I finally caved. Not because I suddenly felt like helping him, but because the constant pings from family were driving me insane. I sat down and typed out what I thought was a pretty measured response. I told him, yes, I got his apology and I do believe he feels sorry now. No, that doesn't erase what happened. He lied and threw me under the bus at the worst possible time in my life, and that destroyed my relationship with our parents. I am not his savior, therapist, or guide. If he needs help navigating being gay in a religious household, there are support groups, hotlines, and communities he can lean on. I'm not going to walk him through the same fire he made me burn in alone. I ended it with, "I hope you figure things out, but I'm not the person to help you do it." He read it almost immediately and replied with, "I deserve that. I'm sorry again. I just thought maybe we could fix things now that I understand what you went through." And honestly, that one stung a little, because in a twisted way I get it. He does understand now, and maybe that's why he reached out, not just for advice but to try to reconcile. But the thing is, I don't know if I even want reconciliation. I've built a life without that side of the family. I don't miss them. I don't need them. Opening that door feels like inviting all the old pain back in, and I worked way too hard to get out of it. Of course, my dad and stepmom didn't take kindly to my response. Dad called me a selfish coward for abandoning my brother in his time of need. Stepmom said she expected better, and that this was my chance to show forgiveness. Meanwhile, Evan hasn't messaged again since my last text. Just silence. I can't tell if that means he's finally respecting my boundary, or if I just pushed away the one chance we had to repair anything between us. It's been about a month since I last replied to Evan, and I think I've finally made peace with my choice. At first, I half expected another wave of family pressure. I braced myself for more calls, more Facebook messages, maybe even someone showing up at my door. But after a couple more guilt-tripping texts from my dad, which I didn't answer, the noise just stopped. The silence was almost unsettling, but in a good way. In that time, I've had space to think about whether I regret not helping Evan. And the truth is, I don't feel good about it, but I don't feel guilty anymore either. Because here's the thing. When I was 19 and sitting in my car outside their house with nowhere to go, not one of them reached out. Nobody gave me advice. Nobody offered a couch. Nobody cared if I was scared or confused. I figured it out on my own through trial and error, and I came out stronger for it. If Evan has to walk through some of the same fire, that's not on me. That's on the parents who built that environment in the first place. Do I think he deserved to be disowned? No. Do I think it's fair that he's facing the same cruelty he once helped inflict on me? Also no. But fair or not, I'm not obligated to be his lifeline just because I survived it first. I did talk this over with my therapist, and she put it in a way that finally clicked. It's not about punishing him, it's about protecting you. If helping him reopens your wounds, then it's okay to say no. And she's right. I don't hate Evan. I don't even think he's a bad person. Just a kid who made choices that had consequences he couldn't understand at the time. But I've spent years rebuilding myself, and I won't risk that stability just to be the better man for someone who once helped break me down. So where I've landed is this. If Evan ever truly wants a relationship with me, he can put in the work over time. Not just one apology text. Not just reaching out when he needs something. Real effort, real accountability. Maybe then I'll consider it. But until then, I'm choosing myself. So, am I the a-hole for not helping my stepbrother after he came out, even though he helped get me disowned for being gay? If this story kept you hooked, give it a like, share your thoughts below, and subscribe for more.